Based on all of the crossovers between regular show and Jujutsu Kaisen that are out in the ether, it seems like these two fan bases are intertwined to an extreme degree. So it made me ask the question, could the park groundskeepers from regular show defeat Sukuna? It took the Jujutsu sorcerers every ounce of strength they had, with multiple sacrifices, to only barely best the King of Curses. So why would the workforce of the park do any better? I think you'd be surprised. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to take this. Hello?
We're calling in regards to your car's extended warranty.
This happens to me at least 5 times a day. You can never tell what's a real phone number half the time. After a while, it just gets annoying, considering what seems like almost every day there's a new company announcing a data breach. I'm glad I learned about Aura sooner than later, the sponsor of today's video. As a member of Aura's awesome service, Aura will remove your personal information from data brokers and people's search sites that sell your info to identity thieves and scammers. Aura can even check places like the dark web or public court records to keep you aware of any potential identity theft. And if you feel confident that you've never been breached, even just checking is good for some peace of mind. Aura found 23 breaches of my personal information, which is insane. But Aura doesn't just help you, it can also help your whole family. Every adult on your account, up to a maximum of 5, will have $1 million of identity theft insurance to help cover you in the event of any eligible losses and fees. As an Aura member myself, I feel comfortable knowing that me and my family are safeguarded by the same kind of security standard that's used for banks and the military. Click the link in the description or go to aura.com/nooperator to try 2 weeks of their service for free on me. It sincerely helps support the channel, and 2 weeks is more than enough time to take advantage of Aura's security to perform some damage control. You'll never take privacy for granted again. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video. Ryomen Sukuna also goes by his second title, the strongest sorcerer in all of history. And yes, I said all. Sukuna had to be split into 20 different pieces to account for all of the cursed energy he held. And even with only 3 of his cursed fingers, Ryomen Sukuna could eviscerate a modern-day special grade curse spirit like it was child's play, the supposed highest category of curse in this time era. Sukuna's power grows with every finger he ingests, and throughout the course of Jujutsu Kaisen, the amount of Sukuna fingers a character would compare to in power actually genuinely becomes a way for characters to scale their in-universe strength level. Imagine just being so strong, people use you as a measuring stick to see how strong they are. But what no one was ever prepared for is the sheer magnitude of difference from one finger of power to the next, as Jogo, a disaster curse who should be at least 8 to 9 Sukuna fingers of power, couldn't even land a single hit on a 15-finger empowered Sukuna. And with just 75% of his strength, Sukuna was able to render 140 meters, although it could have been 200 if he truly wanted, of the city of Shibuya a wasteland, wasting thousands of lives in an instant with an open barrier domain expansion that snuffs the life out of everyone with the fire arrow of Divine Furnace. And at 100%, this Divine Furnace is able to obliterate large sections of the city of Shinjuku. The combination of flames and slashes creating a pressure cooker within its range that extinguishes all caught within with implosive bursts of heat. Divine Furnace's maximum power output rivaling that of Satoru Gojo's unlimited Hollow Purple, as despite Sukuna's smaller 200-meter restriction, the actual damage capacity of Malevolent Shrine and Divine Furnace combined massively expand its destructive capacity. Sukuna should be capable of surviving city-erasing attacks like this as well, considering the King of Curses not only survived the referenced unlimited Hollow, he was also capable of enduring a 200% enhanced Hollow Purple that eradicated 4 kilometers worth of Shinjuku in an instant. Albeit, you could argue Sukuna only survived an attack of that magnitude because he was so far away and had plenty of time to brace for impact. It's clear, based off of Sukuna's stamina and damage mitigation in both of his fights against Gojo and Maharaga, the King of Curses can withstand a large beating, even losing his heart on 2 occasions and still managing to fight regardless of the damaged vital organ. This is due to Ryomen Sukuna's expert use of reverse curse technique, a rare ability that allows the Jujutsu sorcerer to regenerate any wounds, even lost limbs and internal organs, as long as they can properly visualize the body part being restored with the accurate anatomy. The ability is normally excessively draining on a sorcerer, and while acting as a healing factor, can surely become one's downfall if they exhaust all of their energy. But because Ryomen Sukuna holds the largest amount of cursed energy in all of history, he's able to keep up with a character like Satoru Gojo Ichigo's recovery rate, whose 6 eyes are said to allow him almost infinite cursed energy to cycle through. When Ryomen Sukuna is fully incarnated, his deformed and twisted body wields 4 muscular arms and a large gaping maw on his stomach. Although they were deemed oddities that cursed Sukuna at birth due to devouring his twin in the womb, these additional appendages couldn't have been a better aid to a Jujutsu sorcerer in battle. With his extra pair of arms, Sukuna can engage an opponent in hand-to-hand combat while also making Jujutsu hand signs. And with the second mouth, Sukuna could complete incantations faster, as if 2 people were completing the other's sentences. Or should Sukuna opt to place a weapon in his mouth, the stomach can still chant to power up his Jujutsu. This past incarnation also explains Sukuna's experienced and veteran status of combat, having reigned supreme as an invincible warlord long before entering the current time period. Sukuna's battle intelligence is unmatched, and even in a solo fight against multiple warriors with unknown techniques, abilities, or fighting styles, Sukuna is able to adapt, improvise, and assert himself dominantly in war, masterfully using his surrounding environment to hide and/or feint attacks, or even being willing to play high-risk, high-reward plays with his life on the line to accomplish critical victories, like when Sukuna stops sending cursed energy to his heart and healing just so his attacks can be higher in power. Sukuna was able to read into and identify Maharaga's ability in only a couple short exchanges of blows, and creatively amplified the 10 Shadows technique far past Fushiguro Megami's original usage of it, just from watching Megami's ability be used from afar. And depending on the version of Sukuna the regular show crew stumbles upon, he could have a multitude of different abilities to make use of. All of this power coming from a man that was perception blitzing characters like Maki Zenin and outrunning Itadori Yuji in a foot race, 2 of the fastest characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, as well as Sukuna reacting to and even having the time to fully counter one of Kashimo's mythical beast Amber strikes. Regardless of what version of Sukuna's speed you subscribe to, moving faster than the human eye can perceive is no joke, especially to a group of guys that struggle with working at their local neighborhood park. All jokes aside though, the main party of park employees consists of about 7 core members. Mordecai and Rigby are our titular main characters, but the central team protecting the park from Sukuna would most likely also include Muscle Man, High Five Ghost, Skips, Benson, and Pops. Each of these specific characters bringing their own set of unique assets and skills to a fight they definitely would not be getting paid enough to participate in. But this would not be the first time they've had to protect their home from a supernatural threat, and to tell you the truth, Ryomen Sukuna might not even be on the top of regular show's list of threats. He's not even the first guy they fought with 4 arms. From the first episode of the series alone, the cast of regular show are facing threats like the Moon Monster, racing him on the surface of the moon itself and trying to escape from his wrath. They've also collectively overpowered or outsmarted interdimensional beings like Negative Rigby, who originates from the mirror dimension and is the amalgamation of Rigby's jinxes. It was capable of transforming the park and potentially the entire world into its negative version. The park employees have also defeated actual monsters from hell, such as the soul-sucking death worm conjured from a demon named Thomas, or nigh omnipotent beings like the Warden of the Internet, who the cast had to enter a hidden dimension within the net to rescue Benson from. But when it comes to combat specifically, what the regular show lacks in overall physical strength, they make up for in ridiculous buffs and power-ups. Not to say they aren't strong in their base forms, and considering most of these 7 employees should be somewhat comparable in power, excluding a couple special exceptions of course, as seen in the fight with Hammer, the video game boss, where everyone present is able to equally harm the sentient video game console with furniture and survive his attacks that can put craters in the wall of a building, it should be safe to say all 7 anti-Sukuna regular squad members are at the bare minimum capable of destroying buildings with their base strength. And despite the park crew's dysfunction and disagreements, when it comes down to it, they can all cooperate and work together to overcome any threat, as Hammer is just one example of the crew grouping up to defeat a more powerful foe. And there are also times when they had to use outright strategy and deception to win, as opposed to brute strength, such as when Rigby was going to be killed by Johnny Allen Wrench, the spirit of a serial killer who had been transformed into a bed that was holding Rigby hostage. Benson is quick to offer Johnny a job and trick him into letting his guard down before the park gang all jump him and cut him down to scraps of wood, claiming all of this was an elaborate plan to ambush Johnny created by Rigby himself in the first place. The park's groundskeepers are all exceptionally smart as well, especially people like Muscle Man, who Benson claims is the best mentor he's ever known. And considering Skips himself is an immortal being formerly known as Walks that has over 500 years of knowledge to recall from and utilize to either give advice or help his comrades out of unthinkable situations, it should almost be guaranteed that Skips has seen or heard about most things in the known universe, no matter how obscure or weird it would be to have that kind of knowledge at such a particular time. Whether it be Skips being aware of a random city-destroying threat like the World Destroyer video game and how to stop it, or Skips memorizing an extremely long and arduous process to piece a shredded diary back together perfectly. I would put money the Yeti has seen cursed energy and things like domain expansions before, proving my earlier claim of every piece of the park's employee puzzle being important in their own way if they were to actually fight Sukuna. Whether that be High Five Ghost's intangibility factor by either launching sneak attacks or having the ability to outright shapeshift. High Five Ghost can be used defensively to transform into a shield that can resist attacks, or offensively by conjuring extra arms for High Five Ghost, up to 5, meaning Hives can go punch for punch with Sukuna, turning tangible and intangible back and forth to make Sukuna miss while falling victim to Hive's own punches. Or we can consider Muscle Man's ability to construct the perfect prank, or in this case, battle plan, to oppose Sukuna and exploit all of his weaknesses. And with all of the martial arts training Mordecai and Rigby have received, it shouldn't be a surprise when I tell you they are actually pretty close to Sukuna in overall attack potency, as by bringing out the full power of Death Kwon Do, a legendary yet forbidden style of combat, Mordecai and Rigby's punches and kicks alone are shown to release pillars of force that can almost destroy the entire vicinity of the park. However, this is only because Mordecai learned the Death Block, the only technique capable of defending against Death Kwon Do's attacks, because when someone is actually struck by a death punch or death kick, they vaporize into a flash of light before evaporating into thin air, effectively being wiped from reality. Considering Sukuna's only attack that would surpass Death Kwon Do's potential town destruction would be Divine Furnace or his Black Flashes, meanwhile, every individual strike from Mordecai or Rigby is assumed to carry this town-destroying strength, Sukuna is definitely not handling the park employees anywhere as easily as he did the Jujutsu sorcerers. And since Benson was also shown capable of utilizing Death Kwon Do in the series, it can be assumed that that would add a third potential member to the fight that can not only rival Sukuna's power, but adds to the overwhelming pressure Mordecai and Rigby were already dishing out in their 2v1. And considering Benson is one of, if not the only being capable of performing the 150-piece drum solo while also not dying from the sheer destruction it causes, I would not expect Benson to fall one bit behind his employees in a fight, let alone if Sukuna manages to piss Benson off. Because if Benson's anger alone can threaten to tear the fabric of space and the park itself apart, who knows what level of power a rage boost could do to Benson in the Jujutsu Kaisen verse. It's unknown if Sukuna's curse energy durability would be enough to make him survive being turned to dust by Death Kwon Do, but I think it's safe to assume Sukuna generously wouldn't evaporate, and instead create a similar scenario to Yuji and the Shinjuku Showdown squad's battle against Sukuna, where Mordecai and Rigby are just continually whittling Sukuna's life force down with their Death Kwon Do punches, taking him down notch by notch until they can find a way to seal him or finish Sukuna once he gets weak enough. Adding in the fact that Mordecai and Rigby are also blessed by the gods of basketball, boosting their stats and speed to the point that they would definitely be formidable foes in close quarters combat, considering Mordecai and Rigby are capable of flying through space like rockets and passing around planets like Jupiter and coming back to Earth in no time at all. No matter what version of Sukuna they fight, they might just be faster. And if we take the fight against Hammer, the sentient video game console that was created through a vessel of electromagnetic light, the regular show cast might unironically get pushed significantly past the speed of light if the flying past Jupiter moment didn't already solidify that for you. But even if this isn't enough proof for you, let's consider the Guardians of Eternal Youth, a group of 5 divine outer god babies that hold power over immortality and bestow Skips with the ability to live forever so long as he worships the Guardians in a dance ritual every year on his birthday, and every 157 years, the Guardians' evil brother, Chlorigbane the Destroyer, returns to try and take over their realm. The Guardians themselves, with all of their power, cannot defeat Chlorigbane and require Skips to do so, making use of a pair of gauntlets known as the Fists of Justice. Combined with the Fists of Justice, Skips was able to launch Chlorigbane far into the depths of space. The weapon was created by the Guardians themselves and exceeds anything Death Kwon Do is capable of. Should Skips be incapacitated or unable to continue fighting for any reason, it is canonically acceptable for another character to put on the gauntlets and make use of its strength, such as when Mordecai and Rigby were able to take down Chlorigbane when Skips was unable to. The gauntlets also allow their wielder to fly, putting Sukuna in a fight against 4 characters now that can all levitate and perform aerial combos or sneak attacks. But the most undeniable fact as to why I think the regular show employees have a chance of defeating Sukuna is because the King of Curses stands absolutely no chance against Pops, the Chosen One. Pops is actually the original being responsible for the creation of the entire universe. Using the Chronicles of Lollyland as a reference, it is unknown when, but at some point after the universe's birth, a being known as Malum Cranus, or Anti-Pops, was born in order to instill balance. The two brothers would constantly get into fights over the fate of the universe, almost always resulting in a stalemate that would cause a universal reset. Now, while the universe does indeed begin anew, based on Pops traveling to previous and already forsaken timelines, it can be assumed a new universe is simply recreated rather than the original being set back and start over. The battle always leaves Pops without any memories of the event or his identity, resulting in him forgetting how to use his powers and who he truly is. Although Pop's universal strength does peek through at times. Even when Pop's true powers are hidden, the park gang is always there to make up for what Pops lacks. The park employees' level of stamina and ability to handle crises while under pressure is also remarkable, shown when Mordecai needs to keep his eyes open for over 24 hours while his friends find clever and hidden ways to help him cheat in a staring contest. But I hope what you guys are getting from this isn't that I'm saying regular show wins because of the power of friendship or anything, but to convince you that if the regular show was to lose, the fear of losing his close friends could potentially mentally break Pops, hinting at the fact that even if you do believe Sukuna was strong enough to slaughter all of the park employees, if it's done in front of Pops, it might just be the straw that breaks the camel's back and unleashes his inner godly powers, only taking a single punch to control alt delete the entire universe. Not even something that Yuki Tsukumo's black hole could stand up against. Also, not for nothing, Mordecai and Rigby are still shown to not only survive Pops and Brothers' universal reset, they're able to remember everything that occurred in the previous timeline and use that knowledge to try and help Pops. Meaning even if everything went back to 0 and you wanted to consider that a draw since everyone just dies, Mordecai and Rigby immediately debunk that theory and confirm that if Pops destroyed everything, it would still be a win condition because Mordecai and Rigby would still exist. Considering most of the park employees have the strength and durability to match 20-finger Sukuna on equal ground, their only real threats would be Malevolent Shrine and Divine Furnace, which I'd say is pretty impressive for a bunch of Cartoon Network characters going up against an anime villain. Mordecai, Rigby, and Benson are all more than fast enough to continually dodge Sukuna's attacks and also hit him back hard enough to land damage with Death Kwon Do. Skips can also provide exceptional backup in battle with the Fists of Justice, add in Hive's intangible to tangible sneak attacks and shield, while Muscle Man is dropping full-on bombs and setting up traps that either stagger or stun Sukuna to give the fighters a better chance at landing hits. Considering Muscle Man's great mentorship as well as Skip's habit of having all of this supernatural knowledge, maybe being able to come up with a plan that focuses on stopping Sukuna from using Malevolent Shrine or beating him before it casts. Even without Pop's overwhelming abilities, regular show might be able to score a win. The fight also gets easier depending on how much preparation the park employees have before the battle, as if Mordecai and Rigby can bring weapons like the power that's able to take control of anyone and brainwash them, or make any verbal command such as teleport to the moon, Rigby could use the pseudo power of cursed speech, demanding Sukuna stay still while Mordecai and Skips beat him to death with their punches. Or the power could just straight up send Sukuna to outer space and leave him there where he can't breathe. Meanwhile, every regular show cast member is confirmed to survive in space with no problems, and all of this is assuming Ryomen Sukuna doesn't make the grave mistake of attempting to fight the park employees on their home field advantage. Because if Sukuna does fight in the park, forget Pops, Benson can just use the book of park records to rewrite reality and erase Sukuna forever, assuring that whether Sukuna's fighting on regular show's terms or regular show is fighting on Jujutsu Kaisen's terms, the park gang should always have some kind of hacks or stat advantage that could guarantee them victory, whether you would argue that win is fair or not. And that's all she wrote. Let me know if you agree on regular show having the upper hand, or what Daddy Sukuna would be able to do to stand up against Pops. Just make sure you hit that like button if you were able to enjoy the video. Subscribe so you don't miss any future videos like this, and know that I sincerely appreciate you watching all the way to the end, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.